This is episode 43, right? 44?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're recording, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, seemingly it's confusion, over a confusion and Nelson Mandela Bay. I don't know whether it's kokelo or when you when's now, but the things as in the guy and shady. You know, after that mess, it ends again a city hall, Kwantu Towers, where you had all those masses gathering for 60 jobs.
Yeah.
And now there's confusion about small grants. Where, small grants must be funded by the 31st of March. Then they extend to 31st by April, right?
I'm supposed to be 30 April.
30 April, yes. Now we got to extension. If you had anything to 31st of May.
Umlandi submitile nge-30 April.
Okay.
Ndaqonda mandiye before like 12 o'clock. Ndafika phaa kubhizi. Abantu bayasubmita, bayasayina, babasubmitile. So ngoku kuthiwa kumba yo khawulezani niyofaka because uzawubetha u-12 la mama uzayivala le box. Andibana lo mama ke mna kuvala i-box but khawulezani. Mama mshoba wa pension afubawa.
Angabuyi mama mshoba wazi.
So tibuze ke mna kaba guys ithini lewe kusanothina nge-postponement but indlela lisirasha ngayo like niyavala athi hayi siyayivala i-box ngo-12 indaba ze-postponement we can only deal with that when it gets advertised apha advert iphumile itshoyo.
So they're not sure. So who brought forth the communication? Because it seemed very official.
I don't know where the communication is coming from. Maybe the communication came prematurely to say people must not panic. And also there were the large number of submissions is Payan.
No, I heard it from the Arts Federation, SSS.
Okay, and whatnot, but I just decided I was ready to submit, so let me go and submit. And I almost said Monday I'm a man after 1 since extend you, but something said go before 12. I went there, the figure you get what I mean? So do not follow it until it put me effort, yes, meaning extension. My God.
But it's going to be embarrassing that if week in, week out, sizawuthetha maladministration izawungathi sine agenda yabona si-campaigner any party that has a larger stake within a council. So I feel that they need to get their house in order for us to sing praise, because you can't sing praise baba nabantu performing e-stars ngoku sikumei abakabhatala. There's a problem.
Anyway, the last word I got was that by Wednesday everybody would have been paid. So I'm hopeful that by Wednesday we will not get any more inquiries about Imaliya Splash. And you can't allow 21 days. Umaspala needs to come right because those national artists have been paid.
Yes, 50%.
And how do you
deposit?
How do you ensure that an artist akamntana wakho uyamboleka nje phaa next uye kufida abantwana bakho apha endlini? I'm not proud of them.
Yeah, it's worrying.
But arts and culture
but ke into mnandi siya ku-29 ka-May. So abantu must voice dissatisfaction yabo through
satisfaction yabo.
Yes.
Because maybe some are satisfied. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, kuthiwa iba yi-corruption when you're not benefiting. Iba yi-connection when you are benefiting.
Yeah.
There's
no winning. But let's see how it plays itself out.
Yeah, man. Look, last week we were chatting about, very inspired by the graduation season, wherein you had great stories, products of Fees Must Fall, where you had Umdu Oyi, security within this campus now graduating. Those are, I'll call them the
great
first fruits, yes, the first fruits.
A good story to tell. South Africa has a good story to tell. When was that one?
No, I said.
Was it before Tumamina? When was that speech? A good story to tell, and then it was followed up by Tumamin. Tumamina. Hey, never mind the South Africa vibes.
Boga Cyril mostly.
Boga Cyril, yeah.
Cyril Ramaphosa.
We should actually, sorry for that, just a side note, abantwana xa befundiswa history esikolweni, as the State of the Nation addresses, they should be titled ngale yabona ngeza taglines zabo yabona ba I'm an African. Yabona that would be cool, hey. Tinyi ban angotinyi kong ban utankiso wa ban kala kala mntana unathethi ngoku. Unathethi ta bandana ka Cyril was wrong yedwa.
Andimazi mntana ka.
Unathethi manje. Usintsolo.
Cyril mnandimazi neBuffalo.
No, it's Tintsolo. I'm just trying to say the kids from history, as we there should be a question exam papers drive us through the timeline of South African presidents by identifying them with the taglines of their State of the Nation addresses for 15 marks. Yes, that's
But also, is it updated history in terms of the syllabus is gone?
I think it's up to us.
And also,
how
I think also we're suffering. We are unable to archive and document our own stories. But yima ngeke mental picture abanayo uma xa kuthathwa ngalo mattress kuthiwa ufake imali engakaya. Like so the man ungabi nayo mental picture.
And yeah, whenever something is a hot topic and it's trending, I don't apply my mind too much kuyo because I think they're much later. About how does this make sense? Does this not make sense? I hate moving with the flow of everyone.
Okay.
But matras.
And then it was slow motion thinking.
Abantu abaziwa nokwaziwa uba ngobani but sebethatha over. Ndizawufuna ke sikhe siqale ekuqaleni uba masibulise abahlali sekho matrasi sibulisa abahlali
Seriously, it's going to be a dope show and I'm looking forward to it. Welcome to Ephondweni Network. I am your Kim, the master builder. Umavulak Vali was always last week Mama Scones.
I am Poetic Soul, man, historical poet. My name is Poetic Soul. I am the poetic one with the magic wand. I am nothing if not magical with my words.
So today we're zooming in, we're sitting with people who are coming from the student fraternity. We reached out to different formations within the TVET space so that we understand because you can go and read media, but you don't always get the truth or the reality as it happens in the ground. But for some odd reason, we got a voice note from, I think, usuka kuSASCO
Voice of the Voiceless.
Oh, the Voice of the Voiceless.
You want to take us through his entire journey?
Okay. Voice of the Voiceless. Ithi if mane caught interdict between uzanfonela ngongel xesha sizawuza engayaziyo into ba
I don't think you kakadlalela voice note. You didn't listen to the voice note well.
I listened to the voice note, but I'm struggling. Okay.
Play the voice note.
Okay, let me play Voice of the Voiceless.
Hey, sorry man, not to call you, bruh. We won't be able to talk to you about interested. Yeah, MC. We're interested to talk to you about this new development since last night of being spoken to go to to go.
That's right.
To go to High Court Tuesday the 7th. Is that development?
What does this mean?
This matter is sub judice. Hello now. Come on.
But what does it mean? Like, okay, because they have in court Saturday.
No. Mhlamba kasafuna uthetha ngale matter because ngoku ufuneka iyoxoxwa court. Usapiniwe lo bhuti ndeniva yomle xa tata. Usapiniwe phaa court.
So yena ke be-communicator kwakunye ne-student wings se-Action SA bebefumana kwindawo eyi-1 where endingayaziyo ngokuba ithini. Siyifumene inambari siyifowunele uvele wathi la mfana makuphinde kufowunwe ngelinye ixesha obe engenamdla kakhulu ukuthetha. So the show must go on, because it's a very serious matter with kids. The student command is here in the place to be.
I think yes, you are. I think of most importance for me, it is to highlight ukuthi this comes from the conversation we had last week about the progress of students about the EPWP debacle beyenzeka City Hall, the levels of unemployment as COIO, and also about the fact that in the midst of all of this, there's the reality that PE College has not experienced a culture of teaching and learning for at least 2 months. At least 2 months, but maybe the student body will direct us even more. In fact, it's been 4 months or it's been whatever. And that was very concerning for me because it took teeny in the greater scheme of things. When I'm realizing kuthiwa namaphepha mos TVET or it's called TVET colleges, right? Yes. Kuthiwa namaphepha akhona amakwa centrally.
Yes.
If they understand. So what does this mean? Doctors in a central marking system. Does it mean TVET colleges are saying mthatha nazo zikule situation or not? I'm interested to find out what exactly is the cause of all of this. Why do we find ourselves here
in this situation
right now? What do we think is the proposed solution to the problems we're facing? And what's the status across the province? What are other students experiencing? If we can, fortunately, you're going to introduce our guests, but I understand we've got a provincial secretary with student command. So
I think the best way is to let the leaders introduce themselves.
Sure.
This will say like I'm and I'm the provincial secretary of the EFSC, Ephondweni.
Okay.
Meaning whatever thanks for inviting.
Okay.
Sure.
This will say like I'm the former SRC president of PE College.
Yes.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. It's I am a former chairperson of PE College at Kaya campus.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
So do you agree if we call each other the first name basis? You mustn't take these things very lightly. We are dealing with politicians. Yeah, it's good. By the way.
Okay.
So, man, take us through what happened before we could even talk about what's happening right now. Where are we?
Okay. Since Bulisela, the opportunities as young people and the student command. I will just vision briefly and then we must add. At PE College, the mess is bad. The situation is bad. For the past 2 years, when we were leading the structure and the branches, these issues that are happening today is the issue that were raised before. And now they are out of control. The students and the leaders submitted a memorandum on the 19 or 18, but it was February 18. It was 18 Monday.
2024.
They submitted a memorandum. A memorandum that is stating the demands and that is stating proposal solutions. And how can we move in this situation as a student? It is this it was not disturbed. As a leader and a student, let's write our demands and our proposal solutions.
Okay.
They didn't just submit issues without solutions.
Okay.
And then they started a meeting with the HET officials and NSFAS official, which is the primary factors in the pending issues as a corner memorandum.
Okay.
And then it was presented in a meeting, and then we came up in
Meeting between who and who?
It was the student leadership and the students and the NSFAS officials and the HET official.
Okay.
Which is everyone that we need in the department of Tibet sector. It was there.
Okay.
A higher decision maker that was there. And then the issues was presented, and then the solutions, let me make it, a resolution was taken.
Yes.
Okay, Atengos, which is an NSFAS official, will visit all 3 campuses so that we can deal with individual students, so that we can pass this thing of NSFAS.
Okay.
If we know the issue of Zinga is application without status, the situation of which is the converse issue, those officials will be on campus and then to solve these issues. That was the first request we made. And the HET will ask them to intervene with the internal issues that is happening at the college. Because there's some other things that happened in a wrong manner. There's like constitution and other things that are doing in departments, which is a people's department, whereby it's unfunctional to student activities. And then the HET said no, they are going to intervene, and then we gave them a time frame. And by the way, the NSFAS official gave us a date that is going to visit a campus on the 11th.
March.
Okay.
And then
So can I just ask, andifuni abantu abamameleyo, because a lot of people get to learn a lot as we put the podcast out. DHET is the Department of Higher Education and Training.
Yes.
Triple S
student support services.
Student support service. I think it's very important that we remember ukuthi the people we're talking to don't necessarily are not always well versed in these terms, and therefore we need sizama ngokucacisela abantu who are not in the midst of it ukuthi kwenzeka ntoni, and we need for them to understand, and therefore azokwazi umuntu endaweni yakhe ukuthi I stand in solidarity or I completely do not support that, but beyazi the fullness of the information. And I want to be specific. What are these burning issues?
Okay.
Yeah, but because ngoku uthe fly over, but there were some burning issues dimvilo NSFAS primarily. But what are the burning issues? If you can give us just top 5 of the memorandum of grievances, what were we crying about?
And also phana ku NSFAS imatter about NSFAS akakhuphi imali okanye NSFAS udila nabantu unfairly. Uyakwazi ukuthi umuntu eyimitha icriteria angakwazi uyifumana support sentsho ngolo hlobo icaci kuba kaloku ngenye ixesha apha kumamela umzali womntana yaqonda onomntana olapha eBhayi nosuka kwenye inantsika indawo, omnye usajonge ukuba azofunda, so ufuneka athi xa efika azazi uba uzawujoyina phi.
Can we get Zinga to take that one? What are these burning issues?
Okay, we have to the first question.
Okay.
P College has a history, a very, very long history of management not listening to the demands of students. Number one, the academics. We have a shortage of lecturers. There's a matter of shortage of staff when it comes to cleaners and abantu who clean the grounds and whatnot. One sport now we see it on TV, sport by as institutions but we're not there. So when we came in, we were enforcing trials a week before on Friday. The trials on Monday, we were sport straight. So it just be that rush all the time. And we won't get off negative force because I'm not comply to anything. But I was never meeting resolutions, but no, this and this is gonna happen, this and this is gonna happen. Number one, umuntu efana uthumela i-resolutions meeting angazithumeli athi hayi laptop yami icimile wara i-register meeting athi hayi I left it on top of the table, like continuous meetings. But there's always that. Ningamphendula umfonela athi hayi I'm on leave, I cannot talk to you right now, I'll be back in 3 weeks time. 3 weeks is that time sport fanele siyaqhubeka kwezinye institutions. So it's always been like this. But I think students got to a point where they're just tired. There's an issue of NSFAS. Abantu abanye bafumana imali ezinkulu abafuna ezincinci omnye kuthiwe no umuntu wengwana phebhayi kuthiwe no you cannot give you imali for accommodation but giving you money for transport. Omnye angayifumani yonke ibe ngathi uhlala eres afumane imali ye-personal care which is la mali ayifumanayo for i-toiletries. So it is always that issue. Omnye kuthiwa akekho funded because akazimeet i-academic requirements. Yet umuntu opasile has been passing throughout. Omnye ayifumane akapasanga afumane i-difficulties later on. Kuthiwe no wena wafumana imali ngonyaka othile. That time a student doesn't know that. Ubona kuthiwa approve status afumane imali zakhe abe happy. Omnye kuthiwe no registration data from the institution has been sent to NSFAS. Umuntu calls NSFAS, there's a third party must go co-invest. Which is the one distributing allowances. Okay. No, what to NSFAS? No, everything has been sent to co-invest. Phone co-invest. No, I'm still waiting for data yako from NSFAS. You go back to NSFAS, pen any agent. It's now the institution and send your stuff.
Are these toll-free numbers?
No, and you stand there, we call, go to know there's still 100 people. Who are still on calls. You have to wait. You know, abantu abayi 100 ulindile nge-airtime yakho student ongenamali osuka ngapha ezilalini uyibolekile kwale mali yale airtime. They have to call NSFAS. You call there kuthiwe no lini xa ku-99 kuthiwe kushota the next person is you ipheli airtime. You have to call again. Xa ufika kuthiwa there are 200 people before you. You finally reach them but no co-invest. Co-invest is the same situation you call. If only banje itune apha le airtime ivela phi. We have no data at college. Akho data kuchwayo.
Akho Wi-Fi.
No.
Campus.
That's another thing which Muzinga will try to.
Yeah. So that's just NSFAS. The issues of NSFAS.
No,
So that's just NSFAS. Then there's the issue of activities on campus. There should be campus life. Campus, there's nothing, no sports, no societies, no nothing. The only thing you have that's not academics is the political organizations. So there's nothing they can do because there's supposed to be funds allocated to organizations. You get there, you're going to elections. You're supposed to receive funds for campaigning. Okay, you receive resources to campaign. There's no such thing. No, but I know what you want. Take a budget for each organization. Just put in a wish list for organization t-shirts, banners, news fag. It's our paying young. We should pay elections with the HT. It's an SRC. We cannot sit meetings. We need an SRC. You want a wish list now pay for
election under that pressure can go.
Under that pressure. And there are no resources, there are nothing. So now it's just a matter of doing.
Because what's happening is that they need to have a report to the Department of Education to say that we have convened SRC election because an institution can operate, a public institution can operate without an SRC. So someone has to do a report to the Department of Education to say that, but okay, now when it comes as Basu is mentioning the student support service, to make a report that okay, on this date I've got SRC election and then they didn't even discuss with that with any political organization. So that's how they operate.
But the deadline for each event, the elections, it dated
for all TV.
And the thing is, there's always opposition. Maybe a student command is going to say, no, we're not going to elections without you meeting the demands. So it says, let's go.
So tell me now, what's the status now in as far as SRC is concerned? Why couldn't we get hold of the SRC president? Why is it that where there's different formations as a leader, le particular situations?
Okay. I think firstly, the stage of process SRC. Let's start back here on the SRC. What have led us organization to say that organization are on the front of this whole thing? Okay. There is this thing which is called they won't know the constitution. Each and every now a constitution, like we are the constitution of South Africa. So normally the constitution will be held for SRC election will be held like each and every after 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but and then the first one, Zino was the president.
Oh, so you don't elect every year?
No, we do elect every year,
Okay.
but we don't review the constitution every year. We
Okay,
review a
okay.
constitution like after
Every 2 years, I guess.
So what happened is that one, SSS, which is student support service. There's one thing I think it's even there. We even like the members of the EFF have been trying to talking with the Department of Education to say that, but these comrades, they are not even listening to us, as students. Can you please try to intervene? Because it looks like as noma kuwena uyabona xa ubona ukuthi ayaliwa noma mhlawumbe mama khona tata akho bangalwa eroomini mhlawumbe okanye bangalwi phambi kweli physically, but you can sense where kukho conflicts within abantu yabo. So that's what is happening within management which is the student support service, which leads ke ngokwinto yoba SRC yanjiswa yayosayinishwa i-constitution ingekapheli. When was your year? Was 2022, right? So the constitution was signed on 2022 by the deputy president, right? Which was with deputy president Gazinga, who was Ukambalihle Swatbone.
Okay.
Sorry to mention amagama.
Right. Because awuhlebi and also ingaba nje belena nsikale constitution isayinwayo inento ezitshintshayo ngolhlobo besiqhuba ngalo.
Yeah, like the purpose of the constitution was that we saw that when we went to SRC election, there are some loopholes in the constitution, and apparently when we were given an explanation of how, like, did you even go to SRC election with this constitution? It was the constitution of 2019. We were not 13.
Yes.
But when we get to a school in it was 2022, when we get there, Saka said, no, let's try to review the constitution so that the constitution can speak to a student.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense when the constitution is outdated, but ingateti the student, it's only speaking to the student formation. So we say, okay, let us draft it so that every student is feel, but no, you know what, I'm welcome this constitution, it's also abiding, it has policies and everything.
Yes.
But unfortunately, review 2022, then akakaphela unyaka 2023, we kwathiwa SRC izayosayina i-constitution when yayiphila or 10.
They were sleeping at Paxton and they booked a house.
That's what is that's what is happening. And it's not like we are exposing people or whatever, but it's what we've been crying. Even Nan, probably just said that comrades of B College have been writing. I can show you my emails. I've got like plenty of emails from comrades of B College to say that, please, as national province, can you please intervene? These people, they want to change the constitution without us as the formation which is leading. You must remember, EFF won SRC election out of like 21. We took 18 at B College. So SRC was ours. SRC was ours, and now in basically abantu bambezumini babene engagement abanazo lezi leaders, but kwaqhutywa constitution without approval the organization, especially the organization that is leading.
Awuthi lokho kusayine uDeputy Secretary.
Maybe to clarify, 2022, which that we could review the constitution from 2019. Yes, sign up, we moved on. 2019, we get a new SRC after elections. Chiki was a abantu was a Paxton, Balilipa.
You mean 2023 now?
2023, yes, 2023, yeah. One was at Paxton Hotel, they are there to review the constitution. Now review a constitution, they're supposed to sit organizations as a whole, because SRC cannot review the constitution alone. All organizations, there has been submissions as we close the deal, this is what we wish, this is what we think. After your longest submissions, they sit among organizations, including the SRC and student support services, would discuss where they have engagements according to the submissions, but not in a dispute la submission yet on this basis. Now we dispute this, okay, we agree with this. Then the submissions but this is what's going to the constitution, this is what we're changing the constitution yet. So none of that happened. What it to our comrades at Paxton, they're sleeping there.
Who signed the change?
It was the former.
The current former.
You can't say the former. The current former.
How are you current and former? Aye.
Like we lost.
Yeah, but
No, the thing is, like, as a student currently, as far as we're concerned.
Well, you know, it was the president.
Yeah, he was a student at that time.
Also, he or she signed.
Okay, he. Yeah.
President.
Can I check in?
And was the president from the student command?
Yeah, no, just
Yeah,
the constitution maybe besisebenzisa yona 2022 to 2024 but suppose change this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it happened by a review of 2023.
Okay.
It is something that is contradicting what is written down in the constitution.
In that same constitution.
The constitution must review after 2 years. After 2022, it's supposed to be reviewed after 2024. Now that was the first dispute from EFF that FFSC, we cannot see this review because now it is not even a finished 2 years.
Yes.
Number two, the president that is leading the SRC, it is not supposed to sign that constitution because in the constitution it said you must be a bona fide student and you must pass academic record. And that time that it was a constitutional review, the president that was leading SRC does not meet those requirements. And then there was a second dispute because we were running away from the issue of when oppositions and other political parties came to us and then said, this constitution was signed.
So how do you mean he was not meeting the requirements?
When he was deployed, most of the time we work in trimesters. The people
Sure.
like Kaya specifically, it's a trimester situation. So when you are deployed, SSS has what do you call the thing?
Criteria.
They check, they check, but verification, they verify if you meet the requirements. So when you deployed him, he met the requirements fully. Then trimester. On the second trimester, he no longer met the requirements. But
Akapasanga akasisiso student.
No,
at that time, second trimester came, he was no longer meeting the requirements. But the SSS kept quiet for some reason. At the organization, your person no longer meets the requirements.
Okay.
You need to deploy. Because most organizations, we don't go by phase. We go to elections, we go by organizations. Then the organization deploys so that in case if we the period so deploy someone else. So at that time when they did the constitutional review,
No president who's not meant to be.
who's not meant to be the president, and SSS office for some reason is quiet. I communicate. Instead, they are happy with the president being there.
Okay, I want to the instability around e-governance in terms of e-representation in students. But I do want us to just zoom in on this particular situation. Still on 18th of February, Zakala Nina's protest because Tina Smanesisiva Panapaka protest. Are we correct, Gaza City? There's been 2 months of no teaching and learning, or is it more maybe?
And how volatile were.
And how volatile because you know what's going on?
What is really happening is that at P College things are not normal. And the very painful part is that students are suffering on the ground. In this issue of NSFAS, our message was clear. If NSFAS can come into our institution, resolve the issue of students, they must receive their money and then it's sorted. Students must receive a good residence. Students must be transported by shuttle, which is we will done with that issue. Of which the management did the opposite. They failed to request the NSFAS official that was supposed to be on the 11 in our campuses, which is the agreement and resolution that was taken in the meeting. And then the guy didn't came out. And then when we questioned that thing, the guy said, no, I was waiting your colleague to request me to come to a campus. I was available, but the management didn't request me. And then which is the management is failing us and students are suffering. That is another issue. And then we request a service provider, which is the one that is distributing money to students, a co-invest. And can you co-invest come to our students because our students, they can't access their money. Yes. They might receive their money and then they can't access. Some they can't even access their portal because it's blocked. And yet they are using the correct details. and then we request that guy, they must come, and then the management didn't request a co-invest, which is the second issue.
Aninayo indlela yothetha nabo direct co-invest?
No,
Communication
channels.
Okay.
They said the management is then that they must request those officials.
So now we can call and say,
Without the
application.
Yeah, and another thing when it comes to co-invest, you must then, if you know that NSFAS is the system, when it comes to, as you own the guy, be college, you understand when it comes to NSFAS, I got affect only us as B college.
Yes.
It's the system that they are using, the NSFAS. Now the problem is when co-invest is the one that if you can go to NSFAS now, you can go and Google co-invest. You'll find the co-invest was finding criminal activities in a corruption whereby I think they are suspended now. Hence by the 25th of May. They are out. Students won't be longer, will no longer use co-invest as a middleman of payment.
What's the case there?
We can say because there was a record.
Money just disappeared.
Yeah, the money just.
You receive your money, you get to the portal, there's no money.
And
you withdraw it, and you don't know from where.
Student receive money through this service provider,
Yes.
and now the student they can't access their money.
Okay.
Within 2 weeks' time, this service provider will no longer be available in institution. And then now we're asking the management, can you please bring this guy before the due time that the service provider must be gone, so that the student they must receive their money, because now but now students receive money since March. Some students receive money through the service provider, but they can't access. And now the management they must bring this guy, and the student must get their money, because what is going to happen when when the due time on the 25th came up and the student not accessing that money, it will be the loss to student, and then it's another crisis.
Yeah, because so perhaps it was
now
the same
student
thing.
when you hear that
money was there, and you can see your money.
What it is the frustration.
Can mfundiseni man i-trimester ithini zinyanga zingaphi
It's 4. It's 4. Yeah.
3-4 months, right?
But on the
So
4th month exam is final.
okay, so you have been out of action and there has not been teaching or learning for 2 months.
Yeah.
So does this mean that it has been a waste of a trimester? This
We're just waiting for the honest truth when it comes to like students. They are going to suffer each and every time. We even in management we told them that we are the ones that are going to suffer at the end of the day, because we are going to fail. And so because already abantwana babhalile sibhalile kubhaliwe ku-trimesters students zibhalile but nazo besithi zibhala zingayazi uba zizawubhala ntoni, because ezinye zifeyile kwakwi-decrease.
Zibhale zonke i-students.
No.
ubhala njani ungakhambi
Let's
ufundisa?
give a clarity on this issue. What is happening? The strike is taking place, and then now, as a student leaders, we cannot stop students to go and write the exam, because the exams it's external, it's national. Now we said, okay, it's fine. A student go and write the exams, but the other operation in the campuses must stop. Because we don't want to say at the end that a student command are the one that made me to fail and whatsoever. Now students, with that frustration, we allow them to go and write their exams, but it's very painful that it is just a privilege of writing.
Yeah,
but what is going to write, not understanding what is the concept of the subject. They're going to write a grade, but we never start a grade. We never taught a trade, and then you're going to write examination, because now you just qualified for examination. Just one and just two, you got a DP.
But I'm going to write,
and what are you going to write? That you
what was that we're going to write a trade?
Like, no, I'm just making an example with the modules that we have trade test. Like we have science.
Oh, okay.
It's part and parcel of the subject.
Sure, okay, sure.
Oh, sorry, and probably, man. So is mhlambi abanye nje bebhala bekhe kokomos isolotya loba abanye bafunda online, because I remember this where there was a Zoom meeting, a Zoom lecture, Masicha, I understand, and then the student command went into that Zoom and they started disrupting it.
It was another institution. it's a matter of WhatsApp call.
Yeah,
We don't even use Zoom because
Even if they don't have Wi-Fi.
We don't have Wi-Fi in campus. We don't receive data.
Study online.
But when you ask people, where's our data from the time of COVID? Where is it? To know the institution was given, man. What happened to the data?
So has it been as volatile as we've been getting reports ukuthi traumatized ngekuguqulo kumoto yakwa
I wish we can learn that
maintenance.
That's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
Now.
Big winner, man.
No. All of us are students of the college. The part and parcel. What happened next? It just have an imagination whereby you sit a meeting with someone that you think is going to account and then take your issues serious, which is the Department of Higher Education and Training, and then the NSFAS official, which is the one that we are crying for. And then after those resolution, it is not a true reflection that is happening on the ground.
Yes.
And then take that frustration. You came with a meeting and then you go to masses and then you report that in this date, this time, this is what is going to happen. When that date came, and the students expect NSFAS to come and fix the issues, and Converse come and fix the issues, and then none whatsoever that is happening. And the students are going to say, yeah, yes,
empty promises.
You are being bought by management, of which it is very painful to us as leaders, because how can we sit in a meeting and then the management fail to deliver what is promising to students? So now what the student decided, if the management is failing us, why should we just continue to go to class and then knowing very well they failed us in the presence of the HET, which is the Department of Education, and NSFAS official? How is that possible that our issues will be fixed when we're in class? They failed when we're in strike, and then they set a meeting. The students start striking. They close the gated campus, and then we said everything must stop. And then we said, no, man. And then what is very painful, the management called their staff to report at Erika, which is the central admin, to sign a register as if they are working of which they are not working, so that they can get their salaries.
It's the art department, Erika.
Yes, okay. And then the students said, no, how can we suffer as a student, which is the paying clients of this institution, and then those ones that just are receiving salary, they must continue receiving their salary, of which they are not doing the job. If the college is closed, it might as well, but they must suffer because they must not receive their salaries, and as a student we are not receiving our NSFAS, and then our issues are not resolved. And then we decided, no, let's stop that thing of central admin. It must stop. No one is going to go there and then sign a register as if it's working.
Yes.
But the second option the management did, they said they must go in Man Road and then sign register. You see, they are having many alternatives for them to receive their salaries, which is the management. And then students, they don't give a damn about that. They must go and suffer. And now students said, let's stop that central admin. With the frustration of students, because no one is taking their issues into consideration. When you meet this one, which is now, since we are not having a principal at P College, and then there's a department which is all senior management must come on board so that they can count accountability on the behalf of a principal. When we are going to, when the other one is in leave, the other one is not present, the other one is sick, we only receive one. So now it was happening for 2 weeks, and then we said, no, man, this one, they're not taking us serious. If they're not availing themselves with the issues of students, that means they're not taking this issue serious. And then students, they start acting because there's a frustration. Bear in mind,
can we have like
students,
actual leadership of the institution?
Remember, students have to be transported by a shuttle, and the shuttle is not transporting students. Students, they are not receiving their money from NSFAS. Just having imagination of a child coming from Brazil and then starting a big college, not having any resource of sustaining and then the management, someone that is supposed to account, not taking that student into consideration issues like think about that student. If frustration health student, they act to violate those things of the college, because of the anger they have, the poverty, and then the situation they are facing. Because we are going to strike, and then you go back to home, and then the landlord is going to ask my man. And then the stomach is going to ask, where's the food? And then just they have imagination of that trauma.
Yes.
Not student they ban and then we violate all those cars with what they want. It was not they want what they want because of the anger and the frustration, and then it lead that to the student they are being charged with what this thing. At high court.
Before we get to the charging of students, I understand the Department of Higher Education and Training was here at Garden Court.
Yes.
There was a meeting there with obviously management, Yeskolo, the student body, and what was that all about? What do you think, Mhlambi, was the intention behind that meeting, and was the hope Puguti there could be some resolutions that come out of that meeting, and what those resolutions could be? What was the mood within that setup, and how long was this meeting? Was it a day? Was it a week? And so that Wanabanyani time was put into trying to resolve the issues.
Just to chip in on the question I will give you, President. I think I have touched in the principal the college operating for more than 2 years, right? 3 years not having the principal.
Okay.
Because remember, there must be a principal, someone that will actually account. Someone that will say that, no, I will go and speak to the department myself. Remember, principals sit in meetings with the department, with even minister himself. Yeah? So when there are issues, the principal must be able to take those issues to the Department of Education. But it's been operating in the principal. Ati lo mntu actor to be the principal. Ati no mna ndiyasuka nama ndifuna actor to be the principal. I want to go back to my position because upper one andibhatalwa for actor as the principal.
Okay.
That's what the issue is going on, because no one will take accountability. And on top of that, there is no council chair. Remember, what is this thing? Board council on a council meeting or a council board meeting, there is a chairperson which is also an advocate. You understand? Who must be an advocate deployed by the Department of Education to try and solve issues within the institution. As the issues zifikele then azithathe straight to the minister. Understand? There is no council chair. Meaning now, there is no one. It's like the institution is just operating. Usesiphaza nje uyangena, uyathatha, uyaphuma, uyahamba. Akho umuntu uzakubuza what happened on this and that and that. I-meeting ihleli phayana on the 29 to 30 of this month.
April.
Yeah. The resolution okanye mhlambe into biziswa student information was that even if yazi siqhaluqhathu basically siyaqhathwa management, but for the sake of his student uba singa affected, because remember singathi seyilibala naxa sithetha there are semester students that are supposed to write a final examination which is next week on the 14th. Yeah, so we're saying that okay, let be some resolution because remember this problem ayiqalanga as a student. If izinto bendizifuna okanye izinto which were promised to me bezisenzeka, besingekho kwesi stage whereby we have to bakuqhutywa imoto kuchiswa isikolo and everything. This whole thing started from umuntu angayithathi serious into yena ayiqesholeyo. You understand? Because ihleli meeting for 2 days without any resolutions.
Which one now? The
recent one.
Okay.
Yeah, the recent one, there were no resolution. Instead of a resolution, what management just picked in is to say that, oh no, what, let's open a case. So that there would be no one also be busy Romisha around, will open a case, student leader, there would be no student who is calling himself or herself a student leader, because you will be suspended, you will be charged, because there are 2 students that are having criminal charges which we don't know. So the purpose of that meeting was actually to come with the resolution, because the meeting nothing all of us are candidacy attended that meeting. And according to what
why not?
The reason for us not to attend that meeting, one day is there is a branch.
Yeah, there's a new leadership.
There's a new leadership. There's a branch leadership that said us today to say that, but no, you can go and talk to the.
In fact, the students, they have resolutions. They were asking a few things from the Department of Higher Education and NSFAS officials that we can.
I think just to be correct in terms of our wording, maybe students have proposals rather than because the resolution is what we want to
propose. Yes. And then they said, no, it's fine. The institution can go back to normal. but how can we trust you yet you failed us earlier on? When we took a resolution after the first meeting, no one came in account. And then now whatsoever that was delivered to student. And then again we're sitting in a meeting. How are we going to trust you? Can you please do this for us? And then the institution can go back to normal. Because we're wondering as a student that as a semester student what they are going to write. And within no time there's assessment, there's trials and what's on. They didn't write. And within 2 weeks time they have to go and write external exam. That something that's not just going to be postponed because of the strike. The Department of Education, which is Minister, we settle a date that exams are in due time and then are set, or the papers are already set. And then not because of the strike, because of changes that they also change. Not as a student leaders, we are wondering about the future of our students, our brothers and sisters. Can you please do this for us? And then the management and the DHT start being ignorant. And then students, they said, if we are not going to do this for us, and then we might as well leave this meeting because you are not promising us, you are not willing to account, and then we cannot be the failure to students because many times we're sitting meetings to you, and then now whatsoever that is happening to students, how can we then trust you again? Because now students are going to call us with names, insulting us, and what's all those things. Imagine the student that is hungry. And then you have also a picture that the leaders are at Paxton Hotel sitting with the shit, and then there's no resolution. They are going to call that student leader, you are useless. Yet you are not useless. You present that in the meeting, and then the management start picking you ignorant. Now students, they just receive letters that they must wait a suspension, they must wait a criminal, there's a criminal record, which is what Department of Education is pushing for. They are forgetting that we are in this crisis because of them and the management, to account.
Even the Department of Education, it must start from the management.
Yes.
They must start from accounting, so in management. If they could go for auditing is serious, not just any auditing, but if they should go to auditing, I'm telling you,
for instance, one of the demands was in it was nutrition. What happens is NSFAS must pay for tuition, textbooks, and tuition, textbooks. Okay, then accommodation. But this is so now, there was a suggestion that I think 2017 or whatnot. What you know, textbooks take a long time to be delivered. So what must happen is that students must return the textbooks in order to get new ones for the next N or whatever. So when you return the textbook, the next student gets it. Then la mali ya la mfundi ufumene textbook a second hand iya towards the education program, which is going to assist us students sithathe delay kwi allowances zazo aba bahlale komakwabo bangenamali kwenza education program. That was the agreement apparently 2017. Now we get there, we question this bar. No, students, omnye mhlambe kwazi textbook. No, you're not going to get a new one because you lost the other one. Now, like, I also foster lendo ingathi lo muntu akabhadali for the textbook. At least allow those who want to retain, because the new teaching program other campuses but except one campus. Got to know the campus is too big. Because PLP, which is a bridging course, there's a bridging course. So kwa bridge medicine science, mafumya kwa engineering or whichever campus.
So njebe le campus kuba inkulu yona lento ingazokwenzeka apha kuyo, but they still implement lento yokuisa
so like let it not be compulsory. Let it be umuntu ocingayo ba uyafuna ayibuyise. Because now the college is supposed to have the responsibility of making sure that textbooks are delivered in time. But even when there are no textbooks, isyllabus iyaqhuba. Umuntu ahlale eklasini with only a notebook phambi kwakhe. I-lecturer iyaqhuba. We make the copies ourselves. But bayaqhuba nge-syllabus. Umfundi has nothing with a pen and a paper phambi kwakhe.
Are you guys going to be wasting lo nyaka? Do you see any resolution on the horizon?
With the ignorance of management and Department of Higher Education, I believe AP College is going to be under administration.
Okay.
The way how they operate, because now remember, if there's the issues of students, they are not being attended up until now, and then they're opening a case to students, that means they are trying to stop the process. And then they are trying to eliminate the number or the student leaders that are at the forefront of the struggle. Because if our brothers and sisters they are going to be in prison or being suspended, that means we are going to stand up and then say this thing must stop. And this college must not operate, and then minister must come in the account, because there are things that we are questioning that are in this college that are not happening, and then there are things that we have asked the Department of Education to resolve up until today. Because if you can go back and you question that thing of a summit, and then the money that was spent there, I think it was very illegal.
What summit is this?
The
constitutional review.
That review.
The Paxton case.
You can go and then
The man we can sunrise and Paxton. Why can you book one? Because
as you know something just P college management saying does not have money. Do you know what is happening? You got many sponsors that are coming with P college. Millions. They are paying millions, not just thousands. More especially at Kaya. But if you can go to Kaya, Kaya is just just in the brown shape. The grass is like this, and other old campuses that are being renovated.
There's no maintenance.
The campus that is paying, that is sustaining a big college, all three campuses is Kaya.
But what do you guys think is really going on? What would like?
no one was accounting. For instance, one person cannot act because chasing 3 with senior management. You can't be a deputy, uphinde ubekwa sport, uphinde ubekwenye. Because now you call someone, you're like, you know, I know this is a busy meeting at the sport. But they're like, but you need to deputize right now. I know I'm still busy with this sport move. See for the sport, no, I have a meeting with JHT, that's in the Chile. So one person cannot act so many positions at once.
So this issue about Nansika, there's a court, whatever it's called, where student command aizo kwazi contest to be part of the SRC. Is there any truth in that?
No. Cases as well, but if there is one thing, they're playing.
That's when the cases against all organizations, particular students.
If they were going to subject a student command, not contest SRC elections, that means that they're starting a war.
Okay.
And also because the majority of students want student command. Then what
but it's like Zingane, you've got something in it, and there's you are against it. Understand? There will be no one who's going to make sure that the moment they remove student command, they know they've been operating with other political organizations before us. We came to now, we are the one that came and we started the formation of EFF to say that now it must have powers. So when they are removing EFF, one, we are a radical movement. We're a militant radical movement of students. We won't be like sitting in the management city. No, okay. No, we don't compromise for students because remember, we take izinto zabo deep, like we take it serious because abanye bakhalela kuthi. Student will come to us athi ndasa nakutya, I don't have money to change the pets, I don't have money yokwenza into and you will think about if the twang sister wamlo, we've got like ezinye siblings that are different, and again xa ifika umntana ekubekela into enjana kuwe ivele ibe personally ubone nomnye mhlawumbe kwakwaba kahlelang kahle you need to take that students is accommodated
for the fact of on average we won 2 consecutive years SRC elections. That is a clear indication from students.
So now tell me
it will be rendered ungovernable.
It's very serious. And also the issue by the way was the only political party that is standing for students even now at campus level. Because now even SARS and APOB, they are just joining the struggle that we have started. The memorandum we have submitted, it was student command. And then there are people, student leaders are the one that are trying to fight for student leaders. When you ask those ones, they are not available. Where is SARS go come and chip into this thing? Where is this thing of Voice of the Voiceless? And this one is just a problem if you want to utilize the resources of institutions.
On the string of even about good demands, I believe there was also a thing of the clinic. Pads, simple pads. The clinic is supposed to have pads. They have condoms everywhere. Why are there no pads? If pads bears fixed, before you get a pad, you need to sign the form and it's 3 pages. No test for HIV before you get pads.
Why?
But you can get there and ask for lubricants and condoms. You get there, actually, no, pads is pale, but there are condoms. Why? I'm struggling. Mental health is there.
Look,
it's psychologist. You see it once in 3 months. What are you counseling that's offered?
President Zingama City or President. I feel that there's a lot, to unpack.
Yeah.
And I think an idea of having a consortium of some sort where we meet. We campus at the hall or at whatever place as Iphondo, coming through to just hear, different voices.
Yeah.
I think yona suffice where I wanna see dinge nina ke because nina baku institution. Ndo tukanalendo indoba akuseko ne formations such as Inanseka. Remember Obantu babesenza what was that thing? Creative Arts Society, and all of this. So I think we can leave it at this. It's chaotic.
Before Shia, when I came, I'm interested to know, perhaps from the provincial secretary, what is the status in other colleges around the province? What's going on there? Is it calm, business as usual? Do they know what's going on with PE College? Are you calling on their support or not? What's going on there?
Okay, basically, when we started striking, when PE College started striking, there was already a strike at KSD.
What is KSD? Okay, yes.
And there was a strike at BCC College, which is Buffalo City College. I think Ikhala also at Queenstown embarked on the strike. But majority of TVETs, most of got like 8 TVETs in the province. So I can say majority of those TVETs that embarked on strike. And we've good Natika receiver many Natika students cities they have been suspended, they have been like quick cases.
What's happening to us happened to them.
Because if it like it's the only institution they are facing this main issue up is that NSFAS in Gobi and I we want to introduce any because NSFAS it's not a problem. This thing of a pilot project, which is now there is accommodations which will be spotted by NSFAS that are accredited by NSFAS for students not to pay. It's not this current rent this time around. At least there will be accreditation. Like I will make an example up in Metro. There are 1,000 and something beds for PE College. Meaning that LMU, you're my Ocean View, you're my so NSFAS have introduced la project, which is a great initiative to say that students must not suffer from TVETs now because the start singenazo accommodations. Abantwana le nto bendiyenza umzekelo oqala abantwana bebelaliswa city yonke lanto, but now we can go and talk with abantu siyacela usihlalisela abantwana. We think they are funded by NSFAS okanye we know that they are funded by NSFAS as babe accredited, and NSFAS released last year to say that all students that are funded by NSFAS or any beneficiaries of NSFAS, they must go and look for an accommodation, which is fine. Now we go to accommodations. Let's say for my accommodation, says okay, the landlord because landlord that's number one. We put it aside. It's what is happening within the province. Now you are told that you are going to receive 1,000 rand a month for food. It's 1.3. Yeah. According to that document, you are going to receive that 1.3. Like as not discarded sasa grande with 350. Sizopinde futhi ufumane kule mali lena there is no transport. Transport is not included there. And again, you have to imagine 1,000 rand. Like for me, I cover because as much as buying NSFAS only window we also use Maga NSFAS. when we say that we are beneficiaries of NSFAS okanye izikolo, you see abantwana besiya kwizikolo, they are going there, umndeyazi ba NSFAS uzawungena, at least I'm going to have money, ndizawuthengela iskipa, ndizawuthengela uzawuthenga ngantoni ku-1,000 uyeke ntoni. So EPCC was crying about the amount of money that they are giving. They are saying that, but if universities get 1.5 or 2 point something imali yabo for what you call it, self personal care, then is also, we are not as TVET colleges as a sector, we must get the same, because we are on the same project. Yeah, but it can't be that the same project is divided now by the system. I can say, yeah. So all colleges have been embarked on a strike, and again, it's so painful that some of his students these new colleges. Now, so if I can send you pictures from Ikala, BCC, everywhere, there were same damages that were made by B College. Same damages, and again, they are even worse.
Send those pictures.
And they were dealt with in the same.
Yeah.
So PS currently Nelson Mandela Bay region, which is PE College, is the only one that's still left as a good protest.
Yeah.
But
they went back.
EMC, this side, I remember they sent me an email saying that by Cape Midlands College at Tinach, they have sent me like several meetings to say that, but hey, comrades, it's a intervene. We don't know. Also, they were given this pilot project NSFAS accreditation.
On what peers are saying, the situation in the Eastern Cape TVET sector is abnormal.
But say because of we don't want to act because
NSFAS is a problem. And the service provider that was introduced by NSFAS is a problem. And the DHET, Department of Higher Education and Training, is a problem. The situation is abnormal.
So I just want to
are suffering.
If I can,
and the thing is, I call him. Remember, we had a laptop project during COVID.
2020.
It was the same thing as CoinVest. Like the institutions like NSFAS appointed Pinnacle up in Newton Park. NSFAS appointed new Pinnacle for your ProLine laptops. Now you have to go to, imagine umntana okhalela imali yokutya funeka akhwele aye ngapha eNewton Park. Xa ifika pha kuthiwa no, we haven't received your registration data, we cannot give you a laptop. Funeka phinde wabuye. Kuthiwa esikolweni, no, we have a model, you have to get some information online, there's a new system, you cannot access that, there's no Wi-Fi, you have no laptop or no phone. Allowance again, akho nto yenzekayo.
Okay, I think we've already agreed that there's a longer conversation here that needs to be had, or rather a deeper conversation that needs to be had, that's going to get everybody understanding what exactly is going on. But I've got a concern, and this is the last point, Kimna. I'm very concerned. We've finished the first trimester. We've had students writing exams because right? Yeah. We are about to conclude the first semester, and we are going to allow students to write at the risk of them failing. This also reflects on their record. I wonder if it might not be safe and easy to declare this first semester and the first 2 trimesters to have not happened, rather than have in the record of those students a record that says they once failed. Because remember, some of these students might have been cum laude students, but now because they're having to write forcing matters cum laude, because we're from the average 80 to now a 40 or a 50. There's something that is compromising here. That's what I'm sensing. I just want to get your view on that in a few seconds, a minute and a half each, and then we call it a day, trusting that to put together a bigger conversation around this issue.
Okay, mine in this situation, one, if we are continuing with this situation at P College, there's no way that we can take a risk. Student must, if they want to deregister, they must be at a safe side. If you deregister, at least you're going to appeal and then you state your situation, what happened. Then you go and write an examination that you're going to fail, once you failed, you lose NSFAS, you lose accommodation, you lose shuttle, you're going to the struggle. But if you deregister, you can appeal and then go back to the institution and then you go get those privileges.
Thank you. I like that.
Okay, understand it, John. By the way, we were given an ultimatum, but it's either you deregister or you go and write exams. Now, unfortunately, we cannot decide on our own. As I said, we have constituency this is what we have, this is the problem we have at hand right now. So these are the options as a person I think can help us moving forward. Nina guys, what do you think? Then you reach a resolution with your students, this is how we move forward. So okay, unfortunately we couldn't bring that thing, but guys, let us just all deregister and find a way forward. But the thing is, you deregister, how is it guaranteed that you're going to get back into the system?
Yeah.
Because already they were saying that if you're a returning student, they always prioritize people who are new.
Yeah.
Even January, they prioritize the one who are returning students, they get to register because the results come later than the one who metric. They're like, there's no space. How do you say there's no space for a returning student? If they get to the next level, how do you say there's no space for them? Because they applied here, not on the system, but now you have to apply for the next semester, for the next trimester, for the next year.
So there's the risk of deregistration.
Yeah, you deregister, there's no guarantee that you get back on the system. And already we're saying, but your management is very ignorant. And actually so you deregister.
Let's leave you there and let's go straight to the provincial secretary.
No, I think I'm traveling to the president. Basically, as by institution, we were given this alternative to say that, but it was never like given properly in a way whereby we engage and say, because if there is a Department of Education who can take a decision for an institution. So as about Department of Education was available on that meeting, that resolution should have to say that now let's sit down, let's try to see how are we going to make sure that semester students as also affected, because they are affecting passing rate of school, as also affected is semester student. Number one, it's risky on both sides, because it's risky if I go to exams, I write next semester I won't be funded by NSFAS because why? I didn't go to class. There you go. Because part of this strike, we were trying to solve some, even there were issues at Russell Road that were saying that, but no, Tina lecturer way to against the meaning that there is a problem within all lecturer. Now, Lumdana Funega Balango, get 10 or 14 of this month. So if the Department of Education was willing to sit down or in a proper way with institute information and come with a plan of how are we going to make sure all of us that this issue is solved, because remember as aziziswanga namhlanje, these are like izinto zasemva kudala kuthethwa. So let's pause it, sibambe kancinci ngoku, understand, sibambe sizawuphinda sidibane next kungabikho umuntu compromisekayo down this, because not now as much as and you've mentioned, but there are some students that are getting on level 7s, which is a distinctions and everything. But now they are not going to get those distinctions because of what bursaries is they are funded by bursaries like external bursaries, not NSFAS. So the only solution was that okay, Department of Education, the institution is here, and everyone is here. The institution that does not have a principal is here. Let's come with a solution, let's craft it, masinga compromise abantwana, because ngokungathi basitshoniselwana enantike pooling. It's either you sink okanye mhlawumbe we are swimmer, understand? So but like it's like sidlala the future yethu apha. Exactly. So ngithetha Department of Education was supposed to consider nesikole, but no what ukuze singa affect i-90% rate yalapha e-college ibe abnormal, because if you can go to a passing rate of college, I think we're there at 40, 50 something out of the college.
It was below. Provincial Secretary Vuyo Kato.
Thank you so much, guys.
Zima Mzalisa, former President PE College. Bonga Qegu, convener, Ward 7, and the student currently. It's a heated debate that needs a follow-up so we can get a mess. But if you have a student or so anything, make sure you check up on them. Student politics
also hope it has clarified
are heavy right
yeah.
now, and yes, you understand that the situation is in the words of Uaya. The situation is abnormal. We're going out.
Is a problem.
Yes.
CHET is a problem. Management is a problem. Everything is a problem.
The conclusion of this one, see you in the next chapter. It's been abnormal.
Peace.